Welcome to the Thrasher's Wheat Radio Hour, where the feedback is back.
I come down from the misty mountain.
Every week we scour the human highway to bring you the best Neil Young news and reviews, rumors and musings, plus rare unreleased tracks and live shows that will keep you rocking in the free world.
It's all one song.
The Thrasher's Wheat Radio Hour is presented by WBKM.org in the heart of Burlington, Vermont. Now, from WBKM, here are your hosts.
Well, hello, everybody. Once again, Thrasher's Wheat Radio and Video Hour 2.0. A beautiful summer day here in Burlington, Vermont, and we're ready to kick it on over to the one and only Thrasher from Thrasher's Wheat. Good morning, Thrasher.
Hey, Tony, how are ya? What's going on up
I'm
there
good.
in Vermont, Burlington?
Well, 2 days in a row, 2 for 2, I've gotten to see live local music down at our favorite club, Nectar's, right on Main Street, and right down the block from the studio. And it was great. It was emotional. Thursday night, Friday night, it was emotional. 2 very, very different bands. My buddy Craig and his 7-piece band called Purple, which well, I hate to call it a Prince cover band because technically it is, but Craig has been a world famous DJ in and around all kinds of places, very respected, and he deeply respects the music of Prince, which has affected him greatly. And so what he does is tribute, and it is real, and you walk away feeling different. And it's a beautiful experience, and it was emotional. Because he's a gentleman, you know, like many out there in the world of music, that hasn't played in front of a real audience for a year and a half at least. And you could feel and see the love. And then last night, my good buddy Seth Iacovoni with the Iacovoni Band, a local hero, but a kid who was opening up for B.B. King when he was 16 years old, but decided a different route. And a trio that he's playing with now, almost all originals, fantastic songs. Open it up with some Rolling Stones to get everybody kicked up and dancing. Does anybody remember dancing?
All right. Well,
What about
sounds
you?
like live music is better.
Live music is definitely better, and it is back. It's not as full a house as we wanted. I mean, as full as the capacity would allow. So maybe it was a full house in that sense, but what about you? Any live music on the horizon, or just in the recent few days for you?
Yeah. We made it out to a local venue as well. We also heard a cover band as well. This was a Little Feat tribute band.
Nice.
Some local musicians getting together to honor the music of Little Feat. So it, really, nice job. They had their Lowell George stand-in. Guy played blues slide guitar, and
Nice.
a good local vocalist, singing a lot of the songs. And so it was a good time. Yeah, seeing the buddies, and getting some pitchers of beer and live music and acting pretty sort of kind of normal.
Kind of almost normal.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we'll never be quite normal, so it's okay. We have a lot of professionals, kids. Don't try this at home. But well, I'm glad to hear that. I know what it felt like, because I know what it felt like for me and the people around me, and hugs and high fives and knuckle clenchings. And if you don't want to do the full on flesh, it's okay. It's okay. We respect the differences. That's what America is supposed to be about, respecting each other's differences. I hope it can continue. So, sir,
Yeah.
the wonderful thing that we have in front of us here, we have all of these possibilities. So How about let's you want to share a little screen there and let's talk about some great things going on in Neil Young's world.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Want to definitely do that. So yeah, let's take a look at see what's going on in these days here of Mr. Neil and what they've got going on here.
Beautiful.
All right, so uh, see the famous file cabinet there, Tony.
Famous file cabinet
The famous file
right there,
cabinet.
right
All
there.
right, we're going to take a look inside that there. But we'll start with a little news. Always good to share some news. So this was slightly obscure, but this is why folks tune in to find the obscure news sometimes. But Neil Young is recording a new album, Tony.
Nice.
Right. And so it's not like we've got enough, Neil Young as it is, but more in the pipeline coming. So um, if you go to the Hearst Daily page here, I got that up on the screen earlier in the week. It's actually May 20th, I guess about Thursday or so.
Thursday. Yeah.
He posted his video for Who's Going to Stand Up from the Storytone sessions.
Mhm.
This is recorded mixed by Al Schmidt. And if you remember last week, we talked about Al Schmidt and how he passed away and a little remembrance of some of the legends of the business or the industry, recording
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, definitely.
So Neil had this little note on here, and then he just puts in here, working on my new album every day now, writing.
The
So,
yellow pad producers of the world are happy. They're stocking up for those big yellow pads, right? It
yeah.
doesn't work without the yellow pads.
So I guess, and just reading this really closely, he says he's writing. So one would conclude from that that he's not recording. He's in the writing stage. So then, of course, everybody will say, well, it's a solo. Is it acoustic? Is it crazy horse? What do we got? Well, I guess if it's in the writing stage, we'll just have to wait until we hear something about the recording stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's your.
I wonder about that as we're talking about that, that very fine detail there. Do you think, and this is all conjecture, but you know as much about the way Neil works as almost anybody could. Do you think when Neil starts writing and gets motivated to write, he's got an idea about writing and he starts not just a one-off lines or a song, but starts coming up with an album, does he already hear in his head who is going to carry the music forward best for that song, those songs, do you think?
Well, I think that's a really good question. And I know that Neil Young has been asked about the creative process, over the decades, how that all works. People are definitely always interested in how creative artists, tune into the muse. That is a phrase that Neil Young has discussed repeatedly over the years, tuning into the muse, capturing the muse, hearing the muse. He has expanded on that whole concept. There's not really say much that I can add to that whole concept because it's specific yet vague. And I think, like with all great artists, they're not really revealing secret sauce, secret techniques.
Right.
And not that Neil is maybe withholding that. I think he is kind of clearly just sort of said, I have no idea. I think he has actually said something like, I am merely a radio picking up signals that come my way that I then transmit to you. I'm just a pass through.
Yeah. The great ones, we've all had the chance to speak to some great artists, and I'm very blessed by that. And if there is a common thread about that process, that's a common thread that I've heard more and more often, that people that are humble enough to recognize, like Neil, like Willie, like name them all, name whoever it is that does it that way, is a receiver, chosen for some reason that they don't even understand, and they don't want to look into it too heavily. It's just listen to me, boy. Shut up and listen, and carry it forward. It's a beautiful thing, a really beautiful process. Whether it's musicians, creators of any kind, that feel that it comes not solely from within, that it comes from without.
Yeah,
I think it's a
absolutely.
beautiful thing. I think it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. I think, yep. Well, we can, certainly talk about those things as we
forever.
go forward here. But while we're talking about what's in the pipeline and what's coming in the future here, certainly the creative stuff is a fascinating topic. But we talked about Tony here a moment ago about him working on this album, but I think maybe you were curious about what else is in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take a look here at our timeline, um, we can look at the future. We're here in 2021. We do love that sort of alchemy, past, present, future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about going into the past here before on the timeline, um, and we've talked about where we are today, but where will we be later in the year here? So we got the 2021 timeline here. If we
Mm-hmm.
expand this a little bit into the year, slide it, got a little zoom in here. We've got had the Rust Bucket come out, quite a bit of interest in that and the video, and it's all good. Maybe we'll come back to that at some point. Young Shakespeare came out, Return to Greendale came out. We've been looking at the Deja Vu quite a bit. We did get some good feedback on our little show on the Deja Vu. We had a comment on Thrasher's Beat where somebody was going like, I don't need like the 50th anniversary box set of Deja Vu, it's good enough. But after he was listening to our show, Alan in Seattle, he said, I gotta get this thing. So
Ah,
glad we were able
beautiful,
to open some ears, right?
beautiful. Love that. Thank you, Alan.
So Tony, we're down now in the 2021 August and September areas. If you see that there, and this is probably a real interesting subject for us to explore. Maybe today, and then certainly as we get closer later on in the year,
Mhm.
August and September. But if you look at these guys, I don't know how well you can see them right there on the timeline, but what you're looking at here are several different bootleg albums. Carnegie Hall, and then tucked in behind that one is Royce Hall, and then
Mm.
tucked in behind that one is I'm Happy That Y'all Came Down, and then Sis and Kane Junior Blues, and then probably the most anticipated bootleg is the High Flying album, unreleased album by the Ducks. The Ducks, that's a show unto itself for us to get into. I can't wait until September and this thing comes out and we talk about the Ducks, but that's going to be cool. We'll have to wait. But there you go, official bootleg. You see that little thing down there in the corner there, official bootleg.
Yeah,
And
love that.
there's the cover. So the songs are not listed yet, as you see. Um, that one, the songs are not listed, but let's see here. Carnegie Hall, I guess they don't have the songs on that one either. But so this official bootleg series, Tony, um, you might be wondering, so what's that about?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I see the OBS, which is very cryptic if you haven't said those words already. So, official bootleg series.
Right,
It's
official
contradictory
bootlegs.
almost.
Yeah. Well, what Neil Young has done and is doing here with these official bootlegs is that if you're looking at the screen here with this Carnegie Hall show from the series OBS 01, is that this cover, this album, this bootleg album, what Neil Young is doing is taking the bootleg art, the bootleg tracks, and releasing it as an official bootleg. However, the difference is that rather than this be a multi-generation sort of low quality, hissy, crackly bootleg album, it's from a pristine soundboard recording. So you have that sort of that juxtaposition of, if you will, the bootleg sort of visual raggedy stuff with the nice soundboard recording of the concert. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Wow. Carnegie Hall doesn't get much bigger to an artist's career.
Yeah. So yeah, Neil was a very young man when he played Carnegie Hall. 25, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I know, Tony, when you were 25, you're well on your way to Carnegie Hall, as we all were.
As we all
Just
were.
sit in the audience.
Yeah. And you know what the old line is of how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Oh, Tony, why don't you tell us that joke?
How do you get to Carnegie Hall, Thrasher?
No, I ask you, Tony. How do you get to Carnegie Hall, Tony?
See, this is the Ed McMahon thing, and you're supposed to say, I don't know, Tony. How do we get to Carnegie Hall?
How do we get there?
Practice.
Practice.
Lots of practice.
Practice.
So
All right,
yeah,
well,
wow.
that's what we do here. We practice.
We
Do
practice
a lot of practicing.
As you
But
can tell.
just to shuffle through these, a little bit more here.
Oh, yeah, this is cool. I love it.
So this is the Royce Hall. Again, here we go. Here, a little more
we got a little
detail here.
something.
So 1971 UCLA.
549.
All right, so that's that one.
And what's that little 45 do on there?
Well, that's just the 45 is just how you buy it. It takes you to the store.
Okay.
Yeah, takes you to the store.
Yeah, but not yet. Okay.
Not. Yeah,
Hold on. Can't buy it yet.
Can't buy it yet.
Not even Thrasher can buy it yet.
Right. And then this one here, Happy Y'all Came Down. This was had a lot of different sort of mislabelings over the year as to what exactly it was in terms of the date and the venue. But this is Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, February 1st, 1971. I believe that's where they originally held the Oscar ceremonies.
Yeah,
so
familiar.
Before they moved. Next is the Citizen Kane Jr. Blues. This is another widely bootleg show with a lot of great songs played for the first time. I believe this had like Ambulance Blues on it as well. Bottom line, New York City, it was just a one-off kind of show. Very unique.
Classic village venue. Beautiful.
From 74, right? Yep. Classic village venue. Yep. Let's see. Then I guess let's see. The last one is this Ducks thing that we talked about. Again, okay, there's the doesn't really have anything about the venues or anything. So they played like I said, we can talk about this a lot more as we get closer to the date. But yeah, I don't know. Most folks, are not quite tuned into the Ducks chapter of Neil Young, and they certainly, these names here of Bob Mosley, Jeff Blackburn, and Johnny Cravioto are, how should we say, lost to the annals of time. Everyone except for Jeff Blackburn. Jeff Blackburn's got a kind of an interesting story. I don't know if you know his story there.
I know the name, but I don't know the story. Tell us a story, Thrasher.
So the story, let me see. Like with all things, we may not quite get all of our facts right. May have to do some real-time fact checking. But Jeff Blackburn, I believe, was part of Devo. And Jeff Blackburn, if you look at the credits on Rust Never Sleeps and Hey Hey My, and the whole lyric Rust Never Sleeps, apparently he is co-credited on that album for that song because it was Jeff Blackburn who apparently coined the phrase Rust Never Sleeps that Neil Young then incorporated into his immortal song and album and tour, and is now essentially just code for all things Neil.
That's a big one. Rust Never Sleeps. Yeah, that's why it's familiar. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so we'll try and fact check ourselves. Certainly, when the ducks come around to look at that some more. But you know, Tony, we have been talking an awful lot, and we have not listened to any music.
You know, Thrasher, we should listen to some music.
We should listen to some music. You know, we could probably pick a lot of stuff, but you know what? I got this right here. This Children of Destiny, Neil Young, Promise of the Real, that just sort of like is there. So we'll just play that while we think of something else we want to play. But anyway, how about we give this a spin and see what happens?
I love it.
What happened?
Stand up for what you believe. Resist the powers that be. Preserve the land and save the seas for the children of destiny. The children of you and me. Should goodness ever lose and evil steal the day? Should happy sing the blues and peaceful?
Okay. All right. So probably could have done a better job there setting that up. And sort of now that we've played this, and as I was listening to it, so how did we get here? So we started off the whole show by going into the Hearst Daily and that Al Schmidt and the video feature there that we had up on the screen of the orchestra for the recording. And so I guess that pulled up the Children of Destiny, and that was, you know, what we leveraged off of the, you know, new album recording. And so then we come to Promise the Real. And so you're probably thinking like, oh, we're going to listen to Promise the Real. And then we hear like, you know, this whole orchestra business here that we just had on the, on the screen there. And the videos here, I guess this is probably what got played. So there's two. There's the the music video, and then the orchestra version. So I guess that was probably what they had on the Hearst Daily the other day as the feature. So anyway, that was maybe we can take a look at that for just a sec if you want, Tony. Just kind of give it a feel. I mean, this is definitely unique. You know, look, there's
and there's Anthony.
There's Anthony right there,
who just had a birthday yesterday. Anthony, happy birthday!
And I bet you that's Tato right over there. See the little conga drums?
Yeah.
And there's Neil walking in right there into the Capitol Studios. So what was going on here was, you know, it's Promise of the Real with, you know, a full orchestra. And Neil Young. I mean, you know, where are you gonna find this stuff, Tony?
Promise of the Real has gone very far from the day they sat on the yellow couch in the WBKM studios, getting out of the van. Life has changed. And it couldn't have changed for nicer people, wonderful people. Happy birthday, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just play a little bit of the video since we're here? Yeah, I mean, we listened to it just a moment ago. You know, we talked about it early at the top of the show, but I think just to kind of give folks at least the visual representation of what this is all about. Again, this is from the album The Visitor. Probably for a lot of folks, you know, not exactly in the top 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever, but you know, again, just another sort of significant detour on the road of Neil.
Beautiful. think
Okay,
by
that was
accident.
kind of interesting because you
Yeah,
see what kind of
the
happened
mouse
there.
just bounced over there a moment.
Well, yeah, you know how we are here. Let's try
Those
this again.
rockins. Here we go. Lucas. Micah. Rory there.
Okay. All right. Just to kind of
exciting. Gets my bubbles boiling in the blood there. It's like, wow.
yeah, the big sound there. It's a big sound.
Big sound. That big toms hitting that big bass drum. Wham, wham. Nice.
Yeah, and you know, like we were just saying, you know, this is just not an arrangement that you would really expect to encounter. You know, the Nelson sons, Willie Nelson's two sons, Lucas and Micah, and their band Promise of the Real with Neil Young in a Capitol recording studio with a full orchestra.
Beautiful, beautiful creativity. Love it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you know, I guess Tony, we covered kind of a lot of ground here. I'm thinking, you know, we're up here in you know, the late, you know, sort of 19 or 2020, you know, area of the timeline. But
Yeah.
we were looking at those bootlegs from earlier. So maybe we could just zoom back in time and pick up something from the early days and maybe, you know, kind of move to wrap it up, another little clip, and we'll call it a day.
I think that's a plan. I'd love to. Let's bring
All right.
the
All right.
DeLorean back the other way now.
Okay. All right. We'll see what we can do here. Maybe we'll just rather go the timeline way. We'll do the cabinet. So here we go, folks. You know, this is, I think at least, you know, from my personal perspective, what kind of is just kind of fun here about this whole thing. You see over there on the left, we're going back in time. We're down in the late 90s, getting into the late 80s. Or over here on the left, you're looking at that. Maybe you can kind of hear the creaky filing cabinet making those sounds. Can you hear those, Tony?
I can hear it. It's fantastic. It's like the real deal.
I know. All right. So let's see, how far back can we get?
Oh, we can go very far back.
Very far.
Very
back.
far. Look at all those.
I know. I'm trying
I
to.
like the way
trying to
the
see if we
tabs are different. You know, the tabs
Yeah.
sometimes are typed, sometimes they're written in
handwritten.
print, sometimes cursive.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what?
Okay. All right. Look. Here's that Royce Hall that we talked about, the official bootleg.
Okay.
See right there in that cabinet, it's just waiting. That little folder's waiting to get filled up, isn't it?
It is so waiting.
Young outtake. All right. How about this? Look, we got an outtake. Bad Fog of Loneliness. How about that?
Outtakes.
What do you think of that?
Outtakes are good.
This is an unreleased song from the album Harvest. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So, you know, again, let's see if we can make this all work here. All right. So we'll go ahead and do a play here. Here we go, Tony.
All right. That play button didn't hit right, I don't think. There we go.
That fog of loneliness
I love that.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Bad Fog of Loneliness there, Tony. Not, if you will, one of Neil's more familiar tunes, and I have to admit, just like every day around Thrasher's Wheat, as we separate the wheat from the chaff, I never knew that an alternative title was single-mindedness.
Yeah, nice. A little peppier pace than the one that we've heard, than Bad Fog of Loneliness, as we originally heard it, I believe. I would venture to say.
Yeah, and I think that Bad Fog of Loneliness is going to be on one of those bootlegs, the Citizen
Nice.
Kane Jr. Blues. I believe that's where it was
Nice.
first surfaced.
Now, I was looking in the upper right-hand corner of that lyric sheet, the handwritten one, and it had Arlo Guthrie's name on the top. I wonder if it's one of these things that Neil gave away at some point or lost, and Arlo had it and said, "Here you go." And that RS 6411, does that refer to a Rolling Stone catalog number, perhaps? A lot of questions here. There's Arlo's name, written slightly differently than the other printing on that. No handwriting expert here, but looks different to me. Another one of those missing things, missing mysteries. Love that. Well,
Quite a day there.
quite a day. Quite a day. Well, we want to thank everybody again. Certainly want to thank you, Thrasher, for coming on in and sharing this wonderful time with me. We talk about it during the week. We look forward to doing it. We lay it down straight out live the way it is. Unless we really screw up, it's the way we put it down, folks. And we want to thank all of you for having checked this out. And that's a very futuristic comment, as it's just brand new now. But we know somebody will, and we thank you for it. And
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody out there who's tuning into these episodes. I think as we've said, we consider this really to be sort of pilot practice, test runs while we sort of shake down a lot of our technology, as well as some other things. Believe it or not, there's a vast legal department behind this operation here.
back. You can eat tomorrow. You can't feed lawyers too much. You got to keep them hungry. You know what I'm saying? But
we should probably take it easy on the lawyer jokes.
You never know. Yeah, watch lawyer jokes. Well, as we have a saying here in WBKM world, which is compromises WBKM, and the thing I do every Sunday night called Amit's House, dedicated to keeping the legacy of the iconic founder of Atlantic Records alive, someone who Neil loved deeply, Amit Ertegun. And I know you also share the same sentiment about why we do what we do, because we feel like we owe it to someone. Thank you, Thrasher.
Thank you, Tony. Keep on rocking in the free world.
We certainly will.